Welcome back to another episode of Cape Ann Today. I'm speaking with Gloucester Mayor Greg Verga, and he is going to discuss that city's most recent dedication of COVID local fiscal recovery funds, which are part of the American Rescue Plan. Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
Good. So do you want to talk about this most recent decision?
Sure. So I'll give a little recap. The city was awarded last year, before I got here, $23 million from the federal government for ARPA funds. When we came in office, the city hadn't taken any action on it, which was a good thing for us because we didn't have our hands tied with commitments. So we've so far released about $16 million. So the first batch, as you recall, was $13 million that went to the category of infrastructure, which included $10 million for the secondary sewer treatment plant, and $3 million for road repairs. Anybody driving around the city today will see work going on in pretty much every corner of the city. The second batch we put out was for economic development, which was a total of $1.5 million. Among the items on that were a parking study, a facade program, and money set aside for a downtown management organization. There was some interesting feedback on Facebook, people saying, why are we spending $1.5 million on a parking study? Well, first of all, it's $1.5 million for this whole category. The parking study is roughly $50,000. And the city did indeed do an internal study 10 years ago or so, but that was really focused on spaces available and not a whole lot beyond that. This is an external study that will be much more extensive, looking at what we have, where we're going, and what the best steps forward are. And my plan is to use the report and put it into action, not just say, thank you for the expensive report, let's throw it on a shelf. But that leaves quite a bit of money left in that category, sort of as a placeholder as things come up over the next few months. Most recently, we did the housing category, and we put $1.5 million into the Affordable Housing Trust. So I believe we talked about this before. When I took office, the Affordable Housing Trust was down, I think, 3 of its 5 members. I think they felt a little bit like they were not being utilized as well as they could. So first thing we did is we filled the committee. So it's now got full membership. We're trying to make them be more proactive rather than reactive, and giving them the funds to operate. And we did, you recall, earlier in the year, put in about $50,000 and some change that had been what we'd received from the short-term rental tax. This year, early next year, once the free cash is certified, we'll have another dedicated amount to put in, which is looking at it's going to be 60,000 plus or minus. So there's that ongoing fund stream.
Mayor, could you just give us a little background on the Affordable Housing Trust, when it was formed, and how does that board get created? Who appoints them?
They're appointed by me. I'm not sure when it was actually created. I'm kind of wondering if it was when I was on the council my last stint, or if it was before that. But there are affordable housing trusts all over the state. But the appointments are made by the mayor. And just a little plug for anybody who's interested in serving on any board and commission, just email mayor@gloucester-ma.gov. Let us know you're interested, because we will be announcing a list of vacancies for various boards and commissions, most notably the Clean City Commission. So we're going to be looking to appoint people to several vacancies. The Clean City Commission is another one that was in worse shape than the Affordable Housing Trust in terms of there were 4 members listed on the website, 3 or 4 members. We reached out to all of the members when we got here, found out one had moved to Rockport, which disqualifies them from serving, and the other 3 just were non-responsive. So we, by virtue of that non-response, they were removed. And I've so far appointed 1 person. Another person is already been through the city council. Another one is going through council now, and I have 2 more interested. But it can be up to 7 members total, plus 2 alternates. So it's an important thing. I mean, everybody is concerned about the trash and other issues around the city. And this is a commission I'd like to get going to sort of, again, reconstitute and revitalize their purpose. So just throwing that one out there. But back to the Affordable Housing Trust. So they're fully filled up now with membership. I think from the feedback I'm getting from the members, they feel like it is something that they feel like they can and will make a difference. They've got this steady funding source through the short-term rental tax, plus we just plugged in $1.5 million of ARPA money. We could probably use another $50 million and still, have a long way to go. But this is a start. They have some funds to work with. We're also looking at potentially spinning off a piece of city-owned land that might be we could develop into a deed-restricted affordable housing. More to come on that. We still have some homework to do, but it's an important thing. The affordable housing was one of the big topics of the campaign for every race, from school committee right up to the mayor's office, and it's one we really need to find a solution for. It's becoming difficult to afford to live here.
Could you describe how these funds are used by the Affordable Housing Trust? I mean, they certainly aren't enough to build a development. So how are they used?
Well, there are, I guess, a few options. I mean, one could be we set up a program, or work with a nonprofit partner, set up a program for rental assistance. That's one way. I mean, ideally, I'd like to see us focused with bigger funds plugged into it, focused on creating as opposed to sustaining, which is, you can't have one without the other, but we really need to create more affordable housing opportunities. So if we have the money, just sort of thinking outside the box, say a multifamily property comes available, something we might want to pursue. Maybe it's something we could buy in partnership with whatever Action, the Housing Authority, and we've got now multiple units. Or, as I said, this property we're looking to free up, it could go a long way to help offset the cost, because a developer we're not going to do it. We're not going to have a vocational school building duplexes on this lot. But a developer, they're not Santa Claus, they're in it to make money. So this $1.5 million we have might be able to offset that. So that's the idea of the trust, though, is to come up with ideas of what we can do, what we should do. And just, again, it's so cliche, but thinking outside the box. How can we put the money we have to work? How can we ensure a steady stream of funds to keep the thing going? Right.
I had actually looked at your page, and I saw a developer was approached the Affordable Housing Trust about 10 Haven Terrace. Do you know about that project?
10 Haven Terrace is already affordable housing. That's Harper Lights, I believe, manages it.
Yes, I think actually it must have been an old letter. But anyway, it's kind of interesting to me that I thought, oh, this is how it happens. The Harper Lights can approach the Affordable Housing Trust and ask for some sort of funds to just move things along, right? And they were able to develop that property, right?
Yeah, I mean, Haven Terrace goes back a ways. It used to be Elpa Road, is when I was a kid, but I believe this project's been in place for at least 20 years, if not more. So, but units have come up, and as they come up, they are, because they're deed restricted. You can't sell your 2 or 3 bedroom condo for $400,000 if that's the going rate, because they're deed restricted. So, I mean, that is a success story, an area that was a bit challenged, that they upgraded these units, and it's really helped out a lot of families. But if just to sort of tie a bow around the rest of the opera funds, because as we release these categories, people say, well, what about this? Why aren't you spending money? Why are we not? It's like, okay, we just haven't got there yet. Hang on, folks. We have other categories to come over the next few weeks. Public health, community initiatives, that would be places like some of our nonprofit partners who put in the opera requests. And as you recall, we had done the listening posts we had put together an opera listening group, and they did 6 virtual meetings. And so several of the local nonprofits had put in requests. So that would be in that category of the community initiatives. We have parks and open space. That's another one that's been a huge concern. We've lost Fuller Schools Field. We've lost pretty much the vets, East Vets site, with Mados moving. So we have to make sure that the fields we have remaining are maintained and improved, and see if we can look at ways of finding new, perhaps city-owned parcels that could become more recreational areas. Arts and culture, that's another category. General government, administration, and buildings. We have the police station project, we have the city hall project, with the library project, the Legion. There's a lot of places that this money can be allocated. If we took the whole amount, we might be able to complete 1.5 of these projects, but it's a small influx that helps move it along is what we're after here. I think, and then basically we have an unassigned category that still has about $500,000 in it. So the idea, as we said from day one, I want to make sure that this money does the most good for the most people over the most time. And we got a lot of excellent input from people during the listening sessions, and we're just trying to distribute it now in the fairest way possible. There will be some people who it's thank you for your request, but we can't fulfill it. But again, we have to weigh the overall picture of what does the most good for the city. And that's where we are with the funding. So we should have another announcement probably early December. Well, I guess that's next week. Maybe within the next 2 weeks, we'll have another announcement. But we're trying to put them out a little at a time so they can get absorbed and we can start to get the wheels in motion for each of these things. Federal funding, a lot of strings attached. So anything that we allocate the money to make sure that it's traceable, and we don't have Uncle Sam knocking on our door, 5 years from now, asking for the money back.
Right. And it has to be actually used by a certain date, right?
Right. So we have till the end of 2024 to have it allocated. We have to have till the end of 2026 to have it spent.
Yeah.
I think that's possible. It's just like I said, the thing we want to make sure with what we do within the city, within the government's purview, we know what we have, we know how to track it. So anything we're given to outside partners, we have to make sure that whatever program they have, A, meets the criteria, and B, they're tracking every step of the way and every penny. So that's why we just want to make sure we're taking it slowly, making sure we have it right. Slowly, but not too slowly.
Right. I was talking to Senator Bruce Tarr yesterday, and we were talking about that wastewater treatment plant and the possibility of the community, a community aggregated, let's say, treatment plant everyone can share, and that you guys are under so much pressure because you have allocated $10 million, I think, to the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes.
And you need to spend it. So we can't wait, right, for the other communities and that study to happen.
Right, and I did discuss I was actually talking to the senator yesterday about this, and yes, that's one of the things when I first took office, I was getting calls from Congressman Moulton, Bruce, and Margaret, Senator Tarr, Representative Ferrante, and they all had said, what can we do to help, as well as Markey and Senator Markey and Senator Warren's office, and I would say, well, we have the sewer treatment issue. When I spoke with Senator Tarr, he had recently discussed with Greg Verga, the town administrator in Manchester, a similar thing because they're having issues with their plant. And when he brought it to the governor, he said he would like to see, because the state still has opera money, he would like to see regional approaches as sort of on the hierarchy of where the state money would go. So that's why we said, okay, well, let's talk. So we talked to the town administrators from Essex, Rockport, Manchester by the Sea, and kicked around the idea. There's definitely some interest within all of us. As I said in the show before, Essex is tied to the hip with us. We are their sole provider. They don't have their own plant. But Rockport and Manchester have their own issues with their plants. So all three of us, and by extension, Gloucester, Essex, have some serious work to do to make sure our facilities, our wastewater treatment is up to snuff and doing what it has to do. So if there is a regional approach, we want to explore that. We're going to give a serious look to it. We've already got money from the state legislature, thanks to the senator and the rep, to do the feasibility. But we have to move forward regardless. The other towns have to move forward regardless. But are we going to move together, or are we going to do it individually? And in the end, we have to do what's best for our communities, as individually. If we can do it as a unit, as a regional sewer system, I'm totally open to that. But in the end, it's going to be something that works for all of us. It doesn't burden us any more than it would have been going it alone.
Right. Well, is there anything else you want to add to the conversation about this dedication of funds?
Well, that's it. I mean, I think it's an important. The affordable housing is, as we said, it's just a huge issue that's every community in the state is dealing with, and this is just one opportunity with this one-time money to put it to use in some way. So I'm excited about it. I think that we can certainly do a lot more with $1.5 million than we could without it. So and we'll see when all is said and done. After we've done the distributions, whatever's left over from opera, maybe we can shift a little more. But I want to make sure we at least plugged in that amount to get this thing started.
And what are you hearing from your mayor colleagues about their funds and how they're managing them in cities? Do you have conversations like that with other mayors about how this
Yes, it's funny because some of the towns like Rockport and Essex got very well, relatively speaking, to the 23 we got, very relatively little, which is long gone. They spent it a while ago. Places like Salem and Lynn, they got just over. Yeah, I know Lynn was well over $100 million, but they were a lot further ahead and they already have things in the works. So they have different issues. We all have affordable housing issues, but they have other, I'm sure their categories other than affordable housing are similar to ours, but I'm sure there's some things that aren't an issue to us that is an issue to them. But I think we're all sort of happy we got the dough, and we're happy to make sure we can put it to work as soon as possible. And some cities are further ahead than others.
Yeah.
But luckily, we have still some time to get the end of 24 and the end of 26.
Yeah, it seems like, particularly with this, the citizens group you put together. Well, how do we phrase that?
No, it was volunteers to be the listening post. Yeah, because it wasn't going to be, well, what are my pet projects? That's just not the way to do it. We want to make sure we had a fully transparent and open process that everybody had a right to. We had, I think, well over 200 people participated either at the posts or the online submission form. So, and it was a pretty wide stretch, cross section of needs, from some things that were quite unique and obviously don't meet the criteria, and other stuff that's obviously slam dunks that meet the criteria and what this money was designed to be used for. So, we're just, it's taken a while. I mean, the funds came in last year, where I'm in my 11th month in office. But as I said, we didn't want to rush it through, but we also don't want to slow roll it through because it's not doing much good sitting in our bank account.
Right. Well, you have, we're going to jump subjects, and you have an announcement about energy aggregation happening.
Yes, so there's going to be an event I'm just checking my notes here, at the Senior Center on December 12th, 11:30 to 12:30. It's called the Bring a Bill event. So earlier in the autumn, maybe during the summer, we got wind of the potential, which is now a reality, the huge increases in electric and gas rates. The city, we talked about this. We have our what's the right word? Community Energy Aggregation program set up, and that has the rate at about, I think, 11 cents per kilowatt hour, which is about a third of what the last batch of increases was supposed to be, and that goes through, I believe, the end of 2024. So this program is for people to bring in their bill. And so we'll go through the bill with them to, first of all, say yes or no, you are in the program now, you're not in the program, and what steps they could take to get into the program. And to be careful, because I got a call from my father the other day, because I handle his bookkeeping, and he wanted a copy of his electric bill because there was somebody knocking on his door trying to sell energy that's from solar power. And if he had given him the information, he would have been removed from this energy aggregation system. Yeah. And so be careful. If people knock on your door, we do have people out there door knocking that are working with us through the Mass Save program, through the Homeworks program for energy audits. They have vests with the city logo on it. They have lanyards that they do not ask for your electric bill. So if somebody comes to your door without the identification and they're asking for your electric bill, just ask them to turn around and leave. And you should probably call the police as well, because there's people going door to door are supposed to have permits through the police department. I did call the police on the guy at my father's house, and they did track him down and gave him a warning. So I must say, the guy doing the job is probably a legitimate person hired by a company who didn't take the right steps. So it's not the guy knocking on your door that's necessarily a criminal, but whoever sent him there didn't follow the rules, and it is a bit deceptive with what they're doing.
And these energy bills are so hard to understand anyway. So
yes.
so helpful to have this service so that someone can hold the bill, hold out their bill and say, where do I see this, this, is it
Yeah,
second party, third party?
it's and I'm just trying to find. I had the page here, but it's on page 2, about a third of the way down on the. I think about the left side of, if you're looking at, then just get a piece of paper. If you have your bill, page 2, it's usually a block right here that spells out. So the upper third on the right side, or maybe the left side, but it's pretty clear, and it should say Gloucester CAE program, CEA program.
And that's,
So it
then
is,
you are already enrolled.
and you're enrolled. And if you are, nothing else to do, just make sure you don't give your bill to the guy knocking on your door who's asking for it, because he'll take you out of the program.
Is it too
But
late to be enrolled now? If you're not enrolled, is it too late?
there are opportunities, and if they, and this thing at the senior center is not just for seniors. Anybody can stop in, and they'll help you through it. So there are ways. If you're a new customer, you can get in. There might be a 2 billing cycle lag, and others, if they're existing customers, sometimes they can let you in, sometimes they don't, but you don't know till you try it.
Right.
So I was happy to see that my bill and my father's bill were both already enrolled, because originally it was an opt-out system. The city, every city ratepayer was plugged into the system, and you had to opt out, and some people did. And I think, you might want to double check to see if you're one of those people and see how you can get back in.
Right, because this rate is so much better than the way things are going if you stay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. And I hope to talk to you soon about the next round of COVID local fiscal recovery funds.
Right, great. Oh, and of course, the tree lighting, Santa Parade tree lighting was postponed from last Sunday to this Sunday. I believe 2 o'clock, starting down at Parker Street, and then taking the parade route all the way to the World War II Memorial and the tree lighting. So
And
hopefully we don't get rain.
Where the tree is coming from this year?
It came from, yes, our sister city, Shelburne, up in Nova Scotia. I did have a chat with when Ringo Tarr, the senator's brother, was up there. We had a conference call with the mayor from Shelburne, and it was a good chat. And I believe the plan was to have another call with him on the stage the night of the lighting. So, and it's funny because in my desk, Safathi had left one of these pins, but it was for Shelburne. So I didn't notice it had a moose on it. So what the heck is this? So it was kind of interesting. So I had it on my jacket yesterday.
Oh, that's nice. That's great. Did he see?
Were you on? I was going to say,
did you see each other so he could see your pin?
Oh no, it was just a audio call. So I did invite him for the 400. So hopefully he'll be able to come by next year. But I just have to give a huge plug to Ringo. This guy does so much for this community, and he's just so humble. He helped us so much on the Halloween party, the city's Halloween party. He likes to keep. He probably would be embarrassed that I'm here praising him, but because he likes to keep under the radar. But he's a guy you ask for help, and he's there without even asking why.
Oh, that's great. Well, a little tip here. He is going to be on our Cape Ann Today live show at the Beauport Hotel on Friday. So for even all the details about how, about the Christmas tree. So I'm sure we'll hear more about your call with the mayor too.
Wonderful.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for everything, and we will talk to you soon. And have a good tree lighting if I don't talk to you before that.
Thank you. Okay. See you later.
Interested in a sponsorship? Email sponsor@1623studios.org to learn more.